guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So for this week's mass making, I thought what we could do is just make some fold out tags, basically, like sort of tag booklets, or you know, tags with maybe pockets on the inside, you know, however they really evolve. So again, I've just brought along a variety of papers. I've got some sort of scraps here of, well, not scraps, but you know, small portions. They're not that small, but portions, let's just call them portions of 12 by 12 sheets that I have left over. I've got a full 12 by 12 sheet, and then I have quite a few different printables, so some are in their entirety and some are obviously just sections of them. More 12 by 12s there. I've obviously got my glue, I've got my scissors, and then, you know, if you're going to be crafting along, just bring along anything that you may need to decorate your pieces. As per, you know, the norm, I will probably just make the basic piece and then I will, you know, decorate them as and when I come to use them. I will just decorate one at the end so it's a bit more fun for you guys. But if you're obviously planning on decorating them as you go, then you will need quite a variety of stuff, I guess. Okay, so that's probably all I need to say. I'll do it in the usual format where we kind of make a couple and then, you know, I'll talk through what we're doing and then I will just shush and not keep talking about what we're doing. So for instance, if I take this paper here, my automatic response is to want to use this paper obviously up the right way because it's got words on it. But weirdly, I actually think this is going to make quite a nice, you know, sideways on pocket tag. So, booklet tag. What am I talking about today? Sorry, I've only just clicked the camera on and already I'm now waffling about completely the wrong terminology. Right, so that's our little booklet. And I'm just going to chop that down here at the side, like that. Now, obviously, you know, that's quite big. Actually, I'm going to put my scraps down to the side so I kind of pile them up. I mean, that's quite big, really, even by my standards. And I do quite like a big tag, but, you know, that's pretty ginormous. So I'm just going to go down at the bottom and just cut it down slightly. Oops, like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to come in slightly more because I think it's still quite on the wide side. So just chop that down, decide which way round it's going to go. I didn't make a very good job of cutting the edge, so let me just try and neaten that up a bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to make it basically tag shaped, so just by cutting the corners off, and I just take my, you know, corners that I've chopped off and just take them to use as a sort of template for the other side, like that. And that's it. I mean, that's basically, you know, the foundation for your book tag. And actually what I'm going to do, let me just put those papers to the side because they were on my lap, which probably not the best place to have them because they'll just be dropping off. What you could do is then obviously take your scraps, you know, your scraps, i.e. the pieces that you've cut off from the tag, and then what you could do is make a couple of little pockets for the inside of your tag booklet. So for instance, we could have that one, and then obviously we could make another one from here, you know, which is a really, really great way of using, you know, or maximizing the paper that you're using. Like that. So all I'm going to do is now, oops, take my glue and then just pop that in to the sort of rough height that I want that to go. So I'm just going to pop it here. Oh, don't tell me my glue is doing this mucking about behaviour already. Good. I mean, this is a brand new glue. I literally opened it yesterday and I've barely used it. So that would have been really frustrating. So I'm just going to take that. Let me bring in my dry wipe to press that down. Okay, so I'm just going to pop my pocket approximately where I want it there. Like that. And then, I mean, I like to just put mine on and then trim it up afterwards. I mean, that's just my method that I find easiest to work with, because if I try and cut it to size first, invariably I'm going to misjudge and, you know, it's not going to go right. So you'll just literally pop that like that. Okay. So again, just pop those pockets down. And obviously, as you can see, we've left just a sort of gap in the middle so that when it folds, it doesn't, you know, screw up the paper. And then you can just trim round your edges like so. Like that. And then just take this side. You know, for me, this is just a much easier way of doing it, is stick the pocket on and then trim around, because obviously now I had no measuring and it's definitely fitting on the tag, where if I had tried to measure that, you know, pre-sticking it, I would have, you know, definitely not got that quite right. And that's it. That's your little tag piece. And then, of course, you could just pop your holes in if you wanted to have holes. Like that. And then you could put, you know, hole reinforcer and ink them up. So that's the foundation of that. Now I'm just going to make a few and then, you know, maybe do sort of inking at the end, or I'm trying to do it in what I think is probably, you know, or what hopefully is kind of the most logical way, but who knows? It might turn out not to be really the logical way at all. So, for instance, here I've just got some printable, and this is 160 GSM sort of papery card. So, I mean, it's not the thickest, but it's okay. So, again, I'm just going to take that and fold that in like that. And then I'm going to trim that down. I mean, as you can see, I actually probably have done this one a bit too skinny. So the first one was like massive and this is now a little bit too thin, but you know, there's no rules with this, so it's absolutely fine. And again, I'm just going to trim down the bottom like that. And then again, I'm just going to take this, which actually this time, because this is actually here, whereas on this piece it wasn't the same as the tag, if that makes sense. So for this one, these should fit pretty well on here. So we can just pop one here and one here, and then we can obviously cut it to a tag shape. So again, let me just pop the glue down into the fold, or you know, near the fold. So one like that, and then obviously we can just trim up the edges in a moment. So I mean, technically this is kind of the same width as the paper, if that makes sense, but obviously I'm not going right up to that fold, so therefore it appears that it's smaller. Does that make sense? You know, because I've left a space there so as it folds neatly, it's still going to need a bit of trimming around the edge. Okay, so we'll just do the next piece. Like that. Okay, take that. Just pop that down there. Press that down with my wipe. And then obviously I can then trim around and cut my tag, you know, my tag corners. So just do one, then take that corner to replicate into this corner, and we just chop that down there like that. Okay, so that's all there is to that, and then we'll just trim around where we've popped our pockets on. Get rid of that there. Oh, come on. Okay, and then we just trim this piece down here. There we go. And then again, we can just punch the hole. Oops. Thought I'd put my crocodile away, but no, it's still out. So we just punch the hole. Now, obviously, when you know, or if you're going to put anything through your hole, the only thing is you're not going to want to put it through both, because obviously then you're going to be clamping your tag shut. So, you know, I would just decorate this up with like a hole reinforcer, but not put like my ribbon or thread or, you know, whatever it is that I'm going to put there as my tab. I just wouldn't put it through both holes. I would just put it through the front one. So that's our second one. I mean, they're really cute, aren't they? And to be honest, these can then be glued in, or obviously as a little, you know, pull-out piece. So I think they're really quite flexible and, you know, quite versatile. So I'll just literally talk you through one last one, and then I will stop going on about what we're doing, because it's pretty self-explanatory. So here I've got this stripy paper. So I think what I'll do is just trim this down to a, you know, a size anyway. And then I'm just going to take that to, you know, an approximate width that I would like it. So probably about that. And then again, just trim it off at this edge here. Like that. And then, I mean, you know, as I say, I never have like a strict method. I mean, like, I think I cut the corners first on the first one. I didn't cut the corners first on the second one. I did the pockets first, but, you know, I'm now doing the corners on this one. So, you know, there's no formula that you have to follow, if that makes sense. And again, we can just use, obviously, this portion, because that's then a really good way to actually be, you know, using up more of your page or more of your paper, in that you're obviously now making your pocket. I mean, obviously, if you didn't want to do that, you could use book page or sheet music, or, you know, whatever you wanted really. Now, I mean, I'm not a fussy person, as you know, kind of measurements wise and all that. The only reason I'm doing this is because stripes are a little bit tricky, aren't they? And so, you know, you don't really want your stripes necessarily really misaligned. So that's the only reason I've, you know, put that side by side there, really, was to get some sort of similar-ish pockets. She says, and actually I haven't got similar pockets at all. So let me just trim this down slightly more. I mean, obviously some patterns are more forgiving than others, aren't they? But stripes, they're not great. So, right, just going to sort of roughly pop it the height that I want it to go, just beside there, and so I know where to pop the glue down, like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Oops, so just pop that down there. Just need to move it up slightly. That's it. press your glue down, and then we'll just do the other one. So, I mean, these are quite a good way of using up things because, you know, they're quite biggish. So, I mean, if you've got sort of biggish scraps, you know, you can potentially use up, like, I mean, you could sort of use, you know, a whole sheet of paper or whatever, which I know technically that's not really scraps, but I mean, I do find that I have papers left from pads, you know, that I've used the rest of the pad, and now I'm just left with odd sheets of paper. So for me, they feel a bit like scraps because obviously they're just there, redundant now, not being used. So you know, for me, this is quite a good way to be able to use up quite a bit. You know, and obviously they make nice pieces for your journals. So this will be the last one that I'm actually going to ramble on about. I mean, technically what we're doing really is making just another style of booklet. You know, but I guess it is different, you know, to the other pieces that we've done. So that's that piece there. And then again, I can just punch my holes in the top. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to stop chatting now about what we're doing and just hopefully crack on with what we're doing. So yeah, she says, and straight away I'm about to waffle on about this because this has now got some markings on the back. So now I'm thinking, oh, I might not use this sheet because the paper's not clean on the back. It's got like glue on there. Right, just going to use this one instead. And obviously this is, you know, as you can see, is a complete sheet. But that's fine. So I'm just going to trim it down here. Right, no more talking about what we're doing. So I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope you're all, you know, enjoying doing some crafting. If you're mass making along with me, I hope it's going to be a productive hour for us all. I mean, I know when I started these, we kind of talked about it and said, you know, I mean, for me especially, I didn't really kind of buy into the whole mass making. I just thought it was really boring. But now I can really see the benefits of having quite a few things ready to go. You know, even if they're not decorated, it really is quite a help having things actually, you know, sort of ready-made. Yeah, so I'm kind of a convert, really. And I think sort of at the beginning we talked about, you know, just viewing kind of, well, what's an hour out of your whole week to just spend making a few things in bulk, and then you've got them there. It's kind of time really well spent. So yeah, definitely I'm feeling, you know, feel that. So I hope that you guys do too. I touch wood, I mean, people do seem to really like the mass making things, but I hope you're also really loving having all those things made, you know, because it is really cool. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember what I was about to say then. I went to say something and then it just totally went from my head. So I'll just again just use those little scraps to make my pockets. So I'm trying to think now what we've been up to. So what have I been up to since the last mass making? Because these are the ones that I can really just relax and chat. Quite often videos are a bit more tutorial-y, and then you're busy obviously talking about, you know, the project that you're doing. I'm sure that people don't really want to hear you then just waffling on and chatting generally. So these for me feel like the most chatty videos, which I know that obviously some people really like chatty videos and others, you know, really don't like chatty videos, and I get that. That's fine. I mean, for me this feels really nice and quite relaxing now that I'm in the mode of the mass making. I really quite enjoy this hour, and yeah, it just feels quite calm, quite, you know, quite relaxed. So yeah. Well, we had a lovely walk last weekend. I'm actually filming that this week, if that makes sense. So for you guys, last week. So when I say we had a lovely walk, this would have been like the weekend. Oh, I don't know what the date would have been, but like the 23rd, or no, not the 23rd, before that. I don't know, the 18th or something. Because the weather was lovely here. It was sunshine. I mean, it was really cold, but it was lovely and sunny and bright. I love those cold, crisp days. So it was just really nice, and we were able to kind of go out, had a really, really lovely long walk, much to my daughter's disgust. I mean, obviously she was bribed with sweets, you know, that if she did the walk without moaning and at a reasonable pace, because if you don't kind of add that into the equation, she thinks without moaning she can just get away with literally, you know, keep stopping, or, you know, walking really, really, really slowly. And obviously that's similar to moaning, isn't it? It's not really not moaning, it's you know, sorry, I'm just checking that I'm actually in frame and that I'm still filming. Yeah, so we have to kind of say to her, not moaning and walking at a reasonable pace. I mean, you don't have to walk fast, you don't have to be racing, but, you know, you do have to walk at a normal pace, not a snail's pace, you know. So she was a good girl, and she did the walk, you know, bribed by the sweets, spurring her on. She achieved her goal and managed to get the sweets. So that was on the Saturday, really nice. And then we came home and just had, like, you know, family meal night. So we like to have family meal night once a week. We used to always have it on a Saturday, but we're not so rigid now, because obviously since the boys are kind of busier and, you know, life's got busier, it's not necessarily always able to be the same day, because obviously sometimes my eldest son might be at work, or, you know, things like that. So or like in the summer, maybe if we've been out, you know, at the beach or anything, who wants to be having family meal night then? Because nobody wants to cook, you know. Then it's kind of like, let's grab something quickly. But yeah, so but we do have family meal night at least once a week. I mean, we do, you know, we do sit down at the sort of island in the kitchen every night as a family, but, you know, kind of not as a sort of official way, if that makes sense. But yeah, once a week we have like proper family meal night, where we actually, you know, properly sit down and, you know, we eat a really nice meal. We have a pudding, which, you know, we often don't, or, you know, generally we don't really have puddings. So yeah, that was nice on Saturday. And then on Sunday, oh, my daughter and I went to the car boot sale, and we had a whale of a time. She loved it. She managed to get this really weird, funny looking toy thing. It's like a cuddly toy, which I did think, oh, you know, fancy buying that. But anyway, she absolutely loves it. She wants to take it in when she has her show and tell at school. So that's how pleased she was with that. So yeah, I mean, as long as she's happy, that's good. And she got that for 50p. So what a bargain. You know, and obviously I gave her the money, so she was able to hand the pound over and take the change. So she loved all that. And oh, she's been glued to that weird toy thing ever since then. So yeah, no accounting for taste, obviously, but she does love it. And I managed to get some really fantastic, awesome pictures and postcards. So I will be scanning them and, you know, having them as a digi in the shop. But, you know, I was really, really lucky and got a lot of them. So they're going to take me a little while to do. But I was so chuffed. I mean, they cost me quite a bit, you know, for a car boot sale, if you see what I mean. because you know, when you think car boot sale, you think 50p, don't you? You know, like what we paid for her toy. But I mean, of course, they weren't 50p. They were quite a bit. So I did kind of think twice, but I think I've told you all about the incident that happened, oh, yonks ago, like a year or so ago, where there was a beautiful old photo album. And I think the guy said, I just can't remember, he might have said £25 or something. And I thought, oh, that's loads to spend at, you know, at a car boot sale. And I literally moved along his stall while I was thinking about it, and no sooner had I moved up the table than somebody else came along and she bought it. So I kind of learnt my lesson from that, and I think now, you know, if I really, really, really love something, even if my head is kind of going, oh my gosh, that's so much money, you know, I need to kind of go with my heart and go, no, I really love that. And, you know, we're going to have a lot of fun with that. And yeah, just kind of purchase it. So yeah, I did with those photos. So yeah, I was really, really chuffed. You know, like as soon as I saw them, they were like buried at the back of the table. They were in a bundle and they had the price on them, and I thought, oh, loads, you know. But I picked them up and rifled through and just thought, you know, as soon as I was looking, I thought, oh my gosh, they're just awesome, awesome, awesome. So from that point, I did not put them down because I didn't want anyone else grabbing them. So yeah, whilst I looked on the rest of his stall, I just kept them like in my hands, you know, didn't let them out of my sight. But wow, I was so chuffed. So chuffed. So that was really, really good fun. And then later, went and looked at a car with my oldest son. So my husband and my middle son were out, you know, doing something else. So I then went with my daughter and my oldest son to go and look at a car for him. And I know that I've talked about this whole car buying saga a few times. Oh, which has just proved really difficult to actually even manage to get to look at a car, because I'm just going to use book page, I think, in this one as the pocket. Yeah, it's proved really difficult to even manage to look at a car. I mean, literally, these people, they don't appear to even be bothered about selling their cars. It's just madness. Anyway, there was a car on like Facebook Marketplace, and it had just come up like overnight, had gone on to there. So phoned about it, it was still available. My son was going out with his mate, and you know, obviously my husband was already out, and you know, it was me and my daughter were there. So I just said to him, well, you know, if you want to get a car, you're going to have to, you know, put yourself out and kind of maybe come back early from being out with your friend. So he did, and yeah, we drove over and had a look at it, and touch wood, you know, seemed really nice car. It's, you know, it was just what he was looking for. It's a Mini, so, you know, bit fun, and it's a lovely colour, really nice colour, blue, like sort of, you know, darkish metallic-y blue colour. So really, really seemed like a nice car. Fingers crossed, because obviously I am not a car expert by any stretch of the imagination. And obviously it's always so nerve-wracking, isn't it, when you go and look at a car. I mean, obviously it wasn't, you know, really expensive or anything, because obviously it's his first car. But I think I said before that we had said we would pay for either his car or his insurance. You know, so I said we would pay for whichever was the cheapest, and obviously car insurance is just, well, extortionate amounts of money. So luckily the car wasn't too much money. But yeah, and obviously then came home and, you know, said to my husband and my other son that we had been out and we had bought a car. And of course, you know, you get all the questions, don't you? Did you look at this? Did you look at that? I said, no, we didn't look at any of those things. You know, I mean, actually, oh, as ridiculous as this sounds, you know, we didn't even open the bonnet because what's the point? You know, we wouldn't have known what we were looking at. So, yeah, we just, you know, very much had to view it as what we were seeing on the outside, and just by the guy who was selling it, who was, you know, a middle-aged man. He was, you know, selling it sort of for his partner. Well, you know, not for his partner, but, you know, he and his girlfriend or wife or whatever were selling it, and they'd had it for a couple of years. So it just sounded like a kind of, you know, genuine sort of situation. And we'd had such a problem even trying to see a car, with all these weird stories about how people are selling it for a mate and they haven't even got the logbook and all these kinds of weird stories. So it just seemed like the most genuine type car that we were going to find, to be honest. So that was on Sunday, and then we went and picked it up on Tuesday. So we left a small deposit, and then we went back and picked it up on Tuesday night. And yeah, fingers crossed, you know, it seems a really nice car. So I mean, obviously he's still learning to drive, so it's not like he can actually go out in it or anything much, but I mean, he has insured it now. So I mean, obviously now we can sit with him in his own car now and take him out to practice. So yeah, that was our big excitement of the week. But I mean, that night, obviously just lost my children. They were just sat out in the car for the rest of the night when we got home, and didn't see them again. And I thought, oh, this is going to be the new thing. They're just going to be sat out in the car constantly now. But I can remember being like that when I was 17 with my first car. So it's all good, isn't it? It's all exciting. So, and as I say, I mean, it's a really lovely colour. And, you know, I mean, obviously that's all that I looked at, was the colour sort of thing. And, I mean, obviously, being a boy, you know, he didn't want to have, like, a girly colour or anything like that. He, you know, it had to be the right colour. That's fair enough, isn't it? So, yeah, it's a nice one. And my daughter, so she said, oh, it's a nice colour, Mum. So clearly she's judging it on the same things that we are. She was just like, yeah, it's a nice colour. Like, yeah, nice colour. So that was our big excitement. Yeah, what else have we done? What else? Oh, went to see that film, Just Mercy. I know that I've talked about it before, saying that I wanted to go and see it. So we did go and see it. My middle son and I went to see it, and oh, it was a really good film. It's so horrible and sad, and you know, but yeah, it was a good film. So if it's out, I don't know whether it's been out already in other places or whether it's only just come out everywhere, but it was very good. So we enjoyed that. What else? We're still watching the drama that's on the telly, and it's on our channel ITV. So if you wanted to pick it up on that BritBox, I know I've talked about this again as well before, but it's called White House Farm, and we've been watching that. It's really good. So yeah, that's based on a true story, and oh, it's just horrible, from 1985, when yeah, I don't really like to go on about it, to be honest, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's not seen it and wants to. But yeah, I mean, basically it was a whole family got murdered in their house. And then, you know, it's the case of that kind of thing. Well, you know, the investigation, sorry, not the case. The investigation of that. So, oh, horrible, horrible, but sort of compelling viewing. I need to Google it really and sort of see a bit more about it. But yeah, it's good, you know, it makes a good drama, obviously. And there's another thing apparently on ITV on a Friday night, and I can't even tell you the name of this one, I'm afraid, because we haven't been watching it. But it's with David Tennant, who was, you know, played Doctor Who. He's obviously been in other things, but Doctor Who is the thing that springs to mind. And I'd seen it advertised actually and thought, oh, I want to watch that. And then obviously completely forgot about it. I think I'd seen it advertised over Christmas, and then, you know, it didn't come on obviously for, you know, till January, and I then forgot all about it. But my mum just happened to mention it the other day. So I'm going to try and pull that up on the iPlayer as well. I think that's on a Friday night. And again, so on that BritBox, I don't know whether, I assume it's just like the iPlayer where you can pull things up whenever, you know, you don't have to watch them when they're on. Well, you can't have to, because obviously it would then be, you know, the middle of the night or something like that, maybe time-wise. But anyway, so that one apparently is pretty good too. A horrible story, again. I don't think this time based on a true story, however, so that makes it slightly less upsetting, I suppose. But yeah, so I'm going to try and check that one out. Oh, come on. Right, I might have to sit on this one because this is like coffee dyed scrapbooking paper, you know, just from paper pads, and it's quite thick, so it's kind of wanting to ripple up and not really stick down flat. So I'll just sit on that now for a little while. Right, what else have I got sat here? I've got some more of those background pages that I gifted, you know, for Christmas. So again, and I'm not trying to just constantly plug them, but I mean, they are free. So, you know, everyone likes free things. So if you haven't got these, they're on my website, shabbydabbydoodar.co.uk. My website's very much under construction. It's, you know, very much a work in progress. It's slow because I'm having to obviously teach myself how to do it. You know, and obviously I'm very new to it. And to be fair, I obviously had time over Christmas because I wasn't really feeling very well. So I was just sort of sat around. But obviously since I've been feeling better, I'm back up doing videos and things. So I'm not now really focusing on that. But yeah, hopefully I will get back to it eventually. But the papers anyway, they're on there. They're under a tab called freebies. So if you haven't got them, you know, head over there and get them, because I mean, as I say, we all like something for free, don't we? So, you know, it's not going to cost you anything to do that. And yeah, hopefully you'll like them. Oh, I don't know what happened there, but for some reason that's actually not the width of the piece. I don't know how that happened, but obviously I was talking and didn't really notice, and I've cut it, I assume, the wrong way. But anyway, doesn't matter, because what I'll do is just trim this down at the edge instead. Okay. So just pop that on there. Okay. Yeah, it's just shocking how time flies. I mean, I literally can't believe my son's 17, you know, and that he's now got his own car, and it's like, oh my gosh, where have the years gone? It just seems like, you know, yesterday that he was just a baby. It's just horrible. Horrible how fast it flies. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, it's lovely him being grown up actually now. He's, you know, it's a different experience, and it's lovely. I think it's just really sad because when you look back, I cannot believe it's been 17 years. You know, it's like, wow, that time has flown. Absolutely flown. And I know that lots of you comment and say similar things about your children, you know, who are often grown up now, and maybe you're, you know, you've got grandchildren now. But it's just, it's so shocking. You know, can't literally believe sometimes where the time has gone. But yeah, I mean, actually, I'm not really kind of the most into babies of people. You know, I think babies are quite unrewarding and not the most fun really. But you know, so I've sort of enjoyed the children more and more as they've got bigger. But yeah, that being beside the point, you know, it's kind of like, wow, he's so big now. He's taller than me. In fact, my 13-year-old is now taller than me as well. So, yep, it's all just whizzing by. But it's funny because I can remember, especially like the first one, I don't think I really had these thoughts after that actually. But that first one, you know, your first baby, I mean, they're such hard work, aren't they? And my gosh, I mean, nothing shocks you like that first baby. And I mean, you know, particularly like in the middle of the night when they're awake and you're feeding them, or like, you know, I mean, he was a really grisly baby, my oldest one. And, you know, I can remember times when he was kind of like obviously grizzling and, you know, and you just think, are you kidding me? You know, is this ever going to end? And now you look back and just think, wow, you know, how fast did that go? So it goes to show really that, you know, I mean, of course you can't help sort of thinking, oh my gosh, how much longer is this going to last when you're there in that? But it's kind of sad when you look back and you think, wow, that literally feels like, you know, a moment ago, and it was actually all those years ago. I mean, it's funny though, isn't it? Because like we say, you know, by your second one, you don't really have, or my experience, I didn't really feel that I had those feelings of, oh my gosh, is this ever going to end? Because of course you've been through that once and you know that that passes and, you know, it does come to an end. But yeah, definitely that first one, you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done? This is just hideous. These babies grizzling all the time. They're waking up all the time in the night. You know, will I ever get to have a good night's sleep again? I can remember when we first brought him home from hospital, and oh, it was just so pathetic. You know, that first night, literally, my husband and I, we did not sleep at all. At all. We were just, both of us, constantly, oh my God, he's moved. Oh my gosh, you know, he's done this, he's done that. Oh, you know, is he breathing? Oh, it was just ridiculous. And so on the second night, because obviously having had one night with like no sleep, and obviously I'd already had one night with no sleep in the hospital, you know, the night before. So by this point, you're like, oh, so we talked about it and said, oh, you know, we can't do that again tonight. How are we going to handle it tonight? So we decided we would take it in shifts, you know, so my husband was going to, you know, sleep first of all until, I can't remember the split, but maybe like, you know, 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And then we would switch, and then, you know, I would go to sleep. So for that first, you know, first shift, my husband went to sleep so that I could sit up, you know, for if he woke up, if he cried, if he moved, you know, if anything, any little minute event happened, you know, I was able to then be watching him. And I can remember I watched Gone with the Wind, because obviously I was awake then for a long time. So to try and sort of keep myself awake-ish and, you know, alert, I watched Gone with the Wind that night, and yeah, then I don't know what time it was, but maybe like as I say, maybe about 3 o'clock in the morning or something. Oh, I've forgotten to punch my holes in all of these. I was so busy chatting. Yeah, so then whatever time it was, you know, 3 or whatever in the morning, we then switched shifts, and my husband then, you know, did, oh, I did punch a hole in that one, did the lookout, and I obviously went and had some sleep. And then by like the 3rd night that he was home, we just kind of, I think we're so exhausted, we literally couldn't stay awake any longer. But we just obviously then agreed, you know, this is ridiculous. This cannot be how we're now going to have to live our lives, is literally never sleeping again, just staying awake, watching over the baby. So, yeah, we did then that night actually, you know, behave more like normal people and go to sleep. But it is so terrifying, isn't it? You know, because that first baby, I mean, you just feel this overwhelming sense of, oh my gosh, you know, I'm completely responsible for you. What if anything happens? You know, oh my gosh, don't dare take my eyes off you. It was just, yeah, very, very funny to look back on now. Probably very terrifying at the time. I mean, I don't really necessarily recall feeling terrified, but definitely feeling I don't know, probably just overwhelming responsibility that, you know, oh my gosh, do not take your eyes off this baby, not for 1 second, you know, keep your eyes out on at all times. You must be on alert, you know, should anything happen. Yeah, so thank goodness that really does only last for a short time, because it's really not the best, is it? But I mean, while you're in it, like we said, I mean, it really feels like, does this ever end? You know, oh my gosh, how much longer is this baby going to keep waking up, you know, in the night? How much longer is this baby just going to be like crying? And, you know, kind of, they don't really give you anything back, do they, for those first few months? They're just like take. But yeah, so I mean, to be honest, I find it all gets much better once they're a little bit more interactive. I mean, my daughter's so funny. She's at that age where she just comes out with the most hilarious things sometimes. And you just all have to just chuckle really at the stuff that she says. But yeah, I think they're all a bit like that, aren't they? And yeah, so I think it just gets better from here on, really. You know, from this age on, it's just better and better and better. You know, more and more and more fun. So my 13-year-old, he's I mean, he has his moments where he's a little bit stroppy, you know, but of course that's to be expected at 13. But well, on the whole, he's still lovely too. So yeah, definitely feel very, very lucky that they're you know, lovely kids. And you know, I've really spent sort of a lot of time with them, which I'm really pleased about, because once it's gone, it's gone. You know, you can't get that time back, can you? I mean, funnily enough, even this morning, my daughter was ready super early for school. I mean, you know, we're a bit rubbish, to be honest. So sometimes she's literally by the skin of her teeth down for breakfast. But this morning, she was kind of motivated and just got herself dressed and ready. And, you know, where, I mean, sometimes you literally keep having to say, come on, you know, get yourself dressed, get your teeth cleaned, you know. But this morning, I don't know what was spurring her on, but for some reason she just literally was ready. And she was ready half an hour before we had to go. So we literally had time to go and play a board game and everything. She'd done her homework. I mean, admittedly, she'd had it for the whole week, you know, so we were a bit behind with that in the first place. But yeah, she'd done her homework. She'd done her spellings. You know, she'd eaten her breakfast. She got dressed. She cleaned her teeth. She'd done everything. I just couldn't believe it. thought someone's replaced my daughter with somebody else because she was so out of character. Right. Let's just trim this down, and then I'll have to just check what time we're up to, because I've just been sat down obviously for all this time waffling on. I haven't got the foggiest clue what time we're actually up to now. Let's just have a look. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. Do you know what the time is? 50 minutes. I have literally been waffling on so much I hadn't even noticed. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Time just ran away with me. I obviously just felt like I was just out with friends and just having a chat. I'm so sorry. Right, let's just quickly decorate one of these up, and we're going to have to be quick because, my gosh, as I say, I was just totally oblivious to the time there. So I'm so sorry. Oh, everyone else was probably thinking, oh, for goodness sake, stop going on. I was just obviously completely caught up in chatting away, and yeah, just had not even noticed at all. Right, gonna have to mix and match my ink pads a bit because they're really not doing well today. I've ordered quite a few things from Amazon yesterday actually. I finally ordered some hot glue for my glue gun. Finally ordered some, what else did I order? Oh, finally managed to get hold of the vintage photo, which obviously I hadn't been able to get hold of for a while. Well, it was probably on there, but obviously once I bought the walnut stain, I didn't look again. What else did I order? I can't remember actually what the other things were, but I feel like I ordered a few things. So, you know, just basic supplies that I needed to stock up. Oh, some more of the 3-in-1. I think there was something else and I can't think what it was. I don't know. Anyway, just basics, you know, glue. Nothing exciting from that parcel, but very much necessities. So I will be pleased once they've all arrived. Hopefully they will arrive soon, this morning, rather than, you know, sometimes, I mean, don't get me wrong, Amazon do provide an amazing service, so I'm not complaining for 1 minute, but sometimes it can be like, you know, 20 to 10 in the evening. And, you know, I'm just hoping it's not going to be one of those days. I'm hoping it's going to be this morning, because I've got a few videos that I could do with, you know, proper ink pads really, as opposed to, you know, making do with what's here. Right, these are my new book plates, and I have done a video for these, but I don't think the video has been uploaded yet. So if you like the look of these, they are available in my shop. However, I will have a video at some point showing them in more detail. So, you know, if you want to wait and see a bit more about them, there is a video coming. It's only a really short video, like 10 minutes or something, but you know, if you want to wait for that, there is one coming. But because I've got several things planned for my channel, it might not actually be up for a little bit. Right, now I'm feeling I need some sort of florals on here. Maybe not those, I don't know. Let me just have a look for some doily. I've just so thrown by the time, you know, I literally now can't believe it. So I'm like, ooh, need to just crack on. I can't dilly-dally now. Put in the bits on the piece here, because, you know, I have wasted quite enough time, obviously, chatting and gabbling on. Let's have some book page on here, I think. I just couldn't believe that. I must pay a bit more attention to the time, clearly. Right, I'm going to do that, I think. And I might also do a bit of stamping around on here. So just pop that down. Again, I could have done with that 3-in-1 just for popping this doily down, because you know, these are not great, these glue sticks, because they just make it look really flat, but it's better than having those black blobs that the tacky glue leaves. So I will just use that anyway. Right, let's pop that there. Again, just get my dry wet wipe and kind of press that down a bit, and then pop this. Actually, I'm just going to pop it down there a little bit. So, and actually what we could do is actually have this as another pocket. So this is like pockets galore on this tag now. So I just need to ink up that book page, which otherwise is a bit stark. Okay, and then we've got the book plate there, which is quite pretty there, isn't it? And then just ink this flower up. Now, I mean, I'm not saying that this flower is necessarily the best choice for this, but obviously because of the time situation that I hadn't realised. Right, let's just pop a little bit of stamping. So again, I might just stamp a little bit of script stamp around on here, which it sounds a bit ironic because the actual, you know, the background paper itself is all this text, but just stamp a little bit. Just do a bit more here. Like that. Just, I've been really naughty and used the tacky glue after all on there. Oh well, never mind. I have also got this pink rose. I wonder whether that might look better. Let me just quickly fussy cut this out. So. Okay. It was suddenly, I thought, wow, I seem to have chatted about a lot of stuff. And so when I then stood up, obviously that came as a bit of a shock. There we go. Okay. Right. So this might or might not look nice on here. I don't know, because obviously just, you know, grabbed it. But I just kind of thought maybe that would look a bit better actually than this. So I might have it like that. Just ink that up a little bit. And actually, I wonder whether we just need a little tiny bit of book page down there. So if I have that. Now that just balances that out a little bit better, doesn't it? So let me just ink that up. Okay, so let's just pop that down. Like that. Then I'm going to have that up there. I think there. It's a bit weird to have those two different styles of flower, isn't it? Probably is a bit weird. So let's just pop this one down instead. Okay. just pop that down like that. Now, these book plates, obviously, I'm going to just pop a couple of holes in here with my pokey to just put a couple of brads in there. So, like that. Excuse me for just a moment while I rummage through my tin and try and find a couple of brads. I know I've got them in here, it's just a case of finding them, so I won't hopefully be too long. Here we go. So we've got one. Now I've got something stuck on my jumper. Okay, just trim that down. These brads have got very long stems. Some reason. I mean, they're quite good from a point of view of when you're poking them through. That's quite nice having those long stems, and they do cut off, you know, very easily. It's not really a problem, but yeah, they are quite long. You know, they poke out generally behind things quite a bit. Okay, so that's my little book plate there. Just going to glue that down up there, and obviously because of the time, I haven't got time now to decorate the inside at all, so that's a bit of a shame, but otherwise I would obviously decorate the inside of this to match the outside. So we just pop that on there like that. So as I say, I would now pop something through there, which again, I don't think I've really got anything here right this second. You know, without taking a little bit of time looking for something that's not really long enough. Oh, perhaps this might do. So we'll just pop this through here. And as I say, obviously I'm just popping this through one because, of course, you know, you don't want this going through both because you would just clamp your tag shut. So just, you know, through the first one like that. And probably I would now put another rose on there as well. But again, obviously I'm so horrified when I looked at the time. So yeah, I don't now look around for another rose anywhere and cut it out and muck about with that. But yeah, so I mean, that's your tag, and obviously inside, you know, we have not decorated at all, but I would obviously now do the inside sort of similar-ish so as it matched the outside. So I hope that you like the little tag booklets and that, you know, they're going to be kind of useful for you guys. Hope you have fun if you decide to make some. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the long waffly chat. Yeah, and hope that you join me next time. So thanks ever so much and see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.